Hey, yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Smart TCG, and today I'm going to be going over how I approach the Charizard matchup as a Gardevoir player. Now, Charizard and also Charizard Dragapult have been seeing a resurgence recently and been seeing quite a bit of success in tournaments, and the deck is starting to see more play. So, as a Gardevoir player, you are obviously weak to Charizard. They are able to one-shot your Gardevoirs very, very easily, so it can be a little bit tricky in navigating the matchup. However, I have came up with some pretty cool strategies that, in my opinion, make the matchup relatively decent. So today, I'm going to be going over a tournament that I played in this weekend. I was in Ohio, and I played in the Rose Pokes 5K Cash Pokemon TCG tournament. I was able to place top 4. I was streamed at this tournament against Charizard. We had 3 really interesting games that were actually pretty good overall. I was pretty happy with how I played in the set, and I think both of us played relatively well. I think this was a good matchup to kind of show exactly how to play, because Gardevoir is one of the more tricky decks in the format, and when you're dealing with as well a card that can one-shot you very easily, and you don't necessarily have ways to one-shot them back, it can be a little bit tricky. So let's hop into exactly how I approach this matchup here. So starting off here, I'm going up against Devin. He's a very successful senior player, and everyone was put together in this. So juniors, seniors, and masters all played together. There's about 95 players, and this was round 6. So I had to finish 5-1-1 to make top cut. So this is a must-win situation for me. So here we go here. I got a Munkidori and a Ralts, using that Nest Ball here to get down a Ralts. I don't really need a second one in this situation, just because Rare Candy Charizard Boss's Orders isn't necessarily super likely to happen. However, I would like to get a second one down just to be safe. Starting Munkidori is really good as well. Monkey, arguably your best starter in this matchup, just is a little bit of a bulky Pokemon that can sometimes survive a hit from certain things, and usually is the best thing to TM Evo with. So I benched down the second Munkidori. I have Energy Attachment as well. My hand is also pretty bad here in this situation, and here I just wanted to stop it just so I could kind of go over something. I had the ability to use Artazon here. I had the chance to get myself a second Ralts. However, giving them Artazon without having knowledge what's in their hand doesn't necessarily feel very good. So in this situation, I knew that they didn't do very much on the first turn, so Rare Candy Charizard plus Boss's Orders wasn't necessarily very likely. So I chose to not give them Artazon because I believed it would help them a little bit more than it would help me in this situation, because how you beat this deck as a Gardevoir player is trying to slow them down, and giving them cards that allow them to set up even more consistently can be sometimes a problem. So I chose not to give them Artazon here. Unfortunately, they already had an Artazon in their hand, so able to use that to be able to see exactly what they get here. Let's see what they get. I think they get Pidgey. Yeah, and just, price checking, seeing exactly what's here. Looks like they got themselves the Pidgey here. They also have, it looks like, a few different cards. Their hand is actually not very good, though. They have the TM Evolution, so they are able to evolve, but both of us here actually have relatively weak starts. I missed turn 1 Supporter, which is not good. But other than that, still a little shaky overall. All right, let's see what I do here. I do use Artazon. Now I'm just going to get myself the second Ralts, I believe. Yep, just got to get it down, because now it's more likely they get Charizard Boss's Order, so it just makes more sense in this situation to get it down. Now it's relatively a realistic possibility they hit it, so got to be careful. Get myself down that Ralts here, dropping it on the board. And yeah, not a great hand, just kind of trying to thin out as much as possible. Now it's kind of unfortunate I got 2 Ralts, but I also have the 2 Artazon in the hand, so that's kind of an unfortunate spot here. Is I got my board stayed up, but I kind of have a clogged hand, and the rest of the hand is not great. So it's almost good though. It's like a Rare Candy and a Research away from being pretty decent. So anyways, they're going to use that Artazon here. That's exactly what they get. Probably going to get themselves another Charmander, maybe another Pidgey too. That wouldn't be too bad. Just getting potentially multiple Pidgey out on the board can be quite good. So, looks like they're going to get Chi-Yu here. That seems fine. Now, I was able to Mind Bend, so put a little bit of pressure on them here. Getting a little bit of damage seemed okay. Now, how I'm going to approach this matchup in this spot is I'm going to try and take multiple one-prizers early in the game. I'm going to try and figure out how to set up a big KO at the end of the game that will win me the game, because I don't get many chances to deal a whole lot of damage. And the one chance I get to deal a ton of damage is with that Mew EX. So when I'm using Mew EX, I either have to be checkmating the game or just winning the game. So I have to be very careful. And since that's my only way to take big one-hit KOs, I need to find other ways to be able to get early game prize cards. So that's going to include things like Mind Bend and also Scream Tail, both very important cards in this matchup. So Anyways, I get Iono'd here, and my hand still sucks. They Iono into a bad hand, and I Iono into also a bad hand. So it's a very, very unfortunate here. Now, in this spot, no really reason to bench the Screamtail. It could just get Counter Catcher KO'd. I know that's a Pokemon I'm going to need in a little bit, so would rather not put that on the board. Looks like they do have the Ultra Ball here. Getting rid of Max Belt makes sense. Don't really need it in this matchup when you're one-shotting. And now they're in a pretty decent spot. So they can get the Pidgeot up here. Now, the big problem in this spot is I don't play Drifloon Bravery Charm. So I'm not able to use that combination. So Charizard is a very, very threatening attacker. And yep, they're able to Pidgeot. Gonna get themselves a couple fire energies here. And at this point here, the board state looks very, very grim. They have a giant Charizard set up. They're gonna be able to Artazon for another Charmander. And this is where some people might just kind of like mentally give up in this spot, just because the board states look so favored. And yeah, there's even the Counter Catcher too, taking down that Kirlia. And now my board state has just completely fallen apart here. So this is really, really scary. However, there is one good thing about this, is that I do have Fezandipiti. I have Fezandipiti, Research, Earthen Vessel, and Rare Candy. So I have some things to work with here. So in this spot, what I want to do is either Mind Bend or just KO a one prizer. Mind Bend here is actually pretty okay because they have a Charmander on bench, which means they would need Rare Candy, Charizard, plus also having to burn both of the energies, as I believe Devin did not play Switch in their list. They have Turo, but Turo also burns energies. So in this spot, this is pretty much Operation Mind Bend and just hope that it works and buys me a turn. Now, like I would say, the other thing about Mind Bend is that it does most likely protect my Gardevoir for the turn. So if I'm able to find Gardevoir, it will most likely survive because Confusion should protect it in this spot. Unless they want to go for just a Boss's Orders hit play, that's really risky because if they Boss's Orders and then flip tails, they lose an entire turn and they're instantly put in a pretty rough situation. So I have a few things going for me here. Now, I chose to bench Fez here. One, because I need to draw cards, but also because it's completely fine to bench Fez in this matchup. I really wanted to mention this because it's really important. Throw Fez like onto the board as soon as you can in this matchup if they've taken a prize card, because you're already getting multiple Gardevoirs on the board anyways, so you have plenty of liabilities to begin with. They can always one-shot, you know, something like Gardevoir, which means they can one-shot something like the Fez too. So don't be worried about really benching liabilities in this matchup. They don't have things like Radzard to knock out the Fezandipiti, so if they can knock out your Gardevoir, they have to use Charizard, which means they can already knock out the Fezandipiti to begin with. So I do Fez here and find some good stuff. I find Secret Box, which means I will be able to get up Gardevoir. I also have the ability to get another Ralts down on the board. I don't have to get another Ralts down on the board, but it's very risky if I don't, because they can always just go for the YOLO Pidgeot Boss's Orders coin flip scenario. So yeah, I do Secret Box here, getting rid of a few different cards. Now, my line in this matchup is eventually going to be to use that Mew EX to finish the game. So I am going to unfortunately have to discard it, but if I am able to find a Night Stretcher at any point at the end of the game, I will be able to use it expectedly to win the game. So as bad as this board state looks right now, I'm in a completely fine situation. I would say I'm maybe almost even in a favorable situation because of how powerful, just like how strong in general your Munkidoris are at creating multi-price card scenarios. So yeah, deck is super good. All right, here's our Candy. I decide if I want to bench the Screamtail. I think I want the other Ralts down, so I unfortunately have to discard it. So this ends up being really annoying in this game, as I have to dump the Mew and also the Screamtail, which means that only something like Night Stretcher or Super Rod plus a Ball Search card is going to be able to get back something like that Mew EX. I just need Super Rod to get back Screamtail because there's already Artazon in play. So things are looking okay here. So in this spot here, if you're faced with a Charizard, Mind Bend the first time. Force them into a coin flip or force them to burn their Pidgeot for a Switch card, because normally if they burn their Pidgeot for a Switch card, they're usually not going to be able to also get a Boss's Orders that turn. So anyways, just Ultra Balling here, getting myself another Munkidori, it looks like. I don't think I bench it here. I think I just Night Stretcher for the Ralts that was KO'd earlier as a Kirlia, because yeah, that definitely seems like the best play here. Yep, there's the Ralts. We're going to go Night Stretcher, get back the Ralts, going to bench that down. I also have Energy Switch here too, so I have a pretty cool play. I can go on to even prize cards here if I have enough energy, and this is what I'm looking at. So what I can do is I can triple Munkidori here, knock out that Charmander, force them to get another Charmander down, which if they play a thin count, like maybe only 2 or 3 Charmander, they normally play 3, then they might have to burn Super Rod to get one back if one's already in the discard pile. So that's kind of the thought process here. Is I know that there's, I believe, a Charmander in the discard pile because I knocked out Charmeleon. So now I'm in an okay situation because I can force them to commit to getting down another Charmander, which maybe means they have to burn their Quick Search, which is very uncomfortable. So here in this spot, I'm able to get the 3 Munkidori KO, which is huge because that Energy Switch enabled me to Energy Switch an energy onto the Munkidori that I hadn't used and then go into the Munkidori that I'd already used, but it now only has 2 Psychic Energies. So able to get 3 Munkidori off here and hit for 60. So I've done the job I've needed to do. I tied the prize trade. I was able to take 2 1-prizers. I think that's what I said at the beginning. You want to try and take a couple 1-prizers any way possible. Things like Screamtail. Also, you know, things like the Adrenabrain. And I've been able to achieve that this game by using Mind Bend to knock out something and then also using the Adrenabrain as well. So looking okay here. They do have another Charmander in the deck, though, able to get that down. And now they're in an interesting spot. They could Pidgey here and get themselves Boss's Orders and try and coin flip the EX, but if they flip Tails, they're in a bad spot because then I can just KO the Charizard at that point because they'll deal 30 to themselves, meaning they only have 240 left, which means that I can just knock them out with a couple Munkidori. So they chose to Iono, stay safe, just kind of build up the board state. They do get Mist Energy here. Now, the thing about Mist Energy is it doesn't remove the special condition. If the special condition is already on there, it still stays there. So anyways, here it is. There's the Iono. There's your retreat. This is actually a really good play by Devin here to just take the turn off. I read the card because I knew what the second attack did, but I didn't know what the first attack did. I thought it like attached energies, but it does. So they're able to attach multiple energies here from the discard onto the Charizard here, and things are a little bit scary in this spot as they're able to get rid of the status condition and just re-heal the Charizard. So, or yeah, re-heal the Charizard of special conditions. But anyways, and now I'm in kind of a weird spot. So, okay, it's 4-4 here. I am technically on pace to win this game because what I could do here is I can retreat into Gardevoir EX, triple Munkidori, knock out the Charmander, and then Gardevoir EX knock out the Chi-Yu. What this allows me to do then is for the last 2 prizes is just go Mew EX plus 1 Monkey to KO if there was a Charizard with full HP. However, the Charizard already has damage on it. So I'm in a good spot here, actually. It might look scary, but with the power of Munkidori, you actually have control. So I found multiple 1-prizers. In this situation, I'm going to try and take 4 of those 1-prizers and only deal with the 1 Charizard. So in this situation here, I'm able to do that pretty decently at the moment. Yep, just gonna toss away these 2 Iono, mainly because I'm prize racing at this point. Since I'm prize racing, I do not care about hand disrupting Devin. It doesn't matter because as long as I get to that Night Stretcher or Super Rod Ultra Ball, which I have multiple outs in the deck, I have a lot of good stuff in the deck, I just win the game. So I know that since I'm racing, I don't care about hand disrupting. And that's kind of a mentality thing in Pokemon that's really important to understand, is that when you are taking, like, let's say a convincing prize lead, you don't need to always worry about having to disrupt them. Just keep thinning your deck, because if you know that you stay ahead, if you hypothetically hit the combo cards that you need, then in that situation, there's no reason to disrupt them if you know what their deck is capable of doing. So here, I retreat, go into Gardevoir, knowing that I just need to get energies in the discard pile to accumulate more damage on the board here. And I go into the EX, and I'm just going to be able to KO the Chi-Yu. Now, unfortunately, here in this situation, I am not able to KO the Charmander, just because I don't have enough energies. So in this spot, I have a decision to make on where I want to put this damage. It's probably just correct to put it on the active or just put it onto the bench Charmander. In hindsight, yeah, it's probably... yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, we'll put 20 there and then just another 30 or another 10 onto the Charmander, I think. Yeah, I just put it all there. Now, they can monkey this damage over, but if you look at the board state, them monkeying 30 is completely irrelevant in this spot. Doesn't actually matter, just because there's nothing they can KO here with the Munkidori. So now, our goal is pretty much to go monkey next turn onto the Charmander and Mew EX for game the Charizard. So things are looking very up here for me. Up a couple prize cards, got a lot of control over the game. However, this game is not over. They use Pidgeot here, get themselves Iono. And in this situation, I had a lot of draw supporters left. A lot of draw supporters, a lot of outs to be able to just find game. But this game ends up getting very scary, as over the next couple turns, I end up not drawing great. So Devin will definitely have a chance to win this game. I know it looks like I'm in a commanding spot, but it gets very close. So anyways, there's the Buddy Puffin getting out the Charmander here. That's fine. I don't really know how much you need this Charmander. This might have been a mistake by Devin. But it's probably pretty low risk to put it. I guess it's actually fine to put it down because there's no other one prizer on the board. So this is like fine, actually. Now, if they were putting a third one prizer on the board, that would be a mistake in my opinion, because then I can just go KO one prizer, KO one prizer, KO one prizer, which would not be good for them. So anyways, there's the evolution into the Charmeleon, and we're going to see that Burning Darkness for KO. So I can win the game this turn. All I would need to do is go Monkey, 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 Mew EX for game. However, if you look at my hand, it is completely dead, unfortunately. It has nothing. It has the Ultra Ball, but the Mew EX and also the Fezandipiti are going to be in the discard pile. So I am starting to run into some problems here. They're able to take the knockout here. I need to promote Gardevoir just so I can get energies in the discard pile. And yeah, all I was here was a Night Stretcher away from game, because if I drew Night Stretcher, I could go, you know, retreat 2 energies, attach multiple energies onto the Mew EX. Actually, I needed a little bit more. Actually, the more I think about it, I would have needed to put 70, so I would have needed 4 Psychic Embraces. So actually, I was a little bit away from game here. I definitely needed multiple things. I would have needed 4 Psychic Energy in the discard pile to put 80 on, and then fling 70 over, KO the Charmeleon, and then Mew EX copy their Burning Darkness for game here. So I needed quite a bit. It was not likely I found it. I would have had to draw on a pretty crazy combination of cards, I think. But oh, I actually have the 2 in the discard. So yeah, I was in this situation just a single Night Stretcher away from game. So unfortunate, but in this spot here, I can just attack with the Gardevoir. The main reason why I'm doing this just to retreat is just to get more damage on the board. There's no downside of doing this. A Gardevoir is going to most likely fall next turn anyways. So just forcing them here to go through this Gardevoir, get more energy in the discard pile, and I get 60 to mess with, just seems fine. Anyways, just piling the damage on here sets up an easy Mind Bend KO, or also sets up a Adrenabrain KO, which is the main purpose of this. But this is where things get a little bit spooky. They do have Turo here. So in this situation, it's important to recognize that I could very easily win the game next turn by just going Monkey, 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 KO this, because now I'm getting more energy in the discard, so I have more stuff to play with. But now in this spot, I could just easily, you know, KO something. So they have to Turo in this spot. That's a Turo one prizer. And this is actually a really good play by Devin here, recognizing the board state and what he has to do. And I think, yeah, going Rare Candy Charizard and then Turoing is very good here. Now, this Turo play, they choose to Turo the Charmeleon. I think what they probably should have done is just Turoed the Charizard if they had an energy left, and then just evolved that, I guess. Do they have an energy? Actually, they don't have an energy. Okay, cool. So they made the right play there. I was like, if they had another energy, you would definitely just Turo the Charizard and then evolve and make 2 Charizards, one with 2 and one with 1 energy. But in this spot here, I am actually very close to game. I think some people thought this game was over, but I'm just a Night Stretcher away from winning. So in this spot here, it's impossible for me, unfortunately, to take 4 prize cards. However, I can buy myself a turn. I can use Munkidori to knock out this Charizard, which is why I put all the damage on it. And then I can also pair that up with Counter Catcher to confuse the Charizard, because I know at this point, if Devin's played Turo, he also probably doesn't play a switch card as well. So I'll be able to go Counter Catcher, bring up the Charizard, a Munkidori KO here, that bench Charizard, and then Mind Bend and force a Confusion Flip. So I'll be honest here. A lot went wrong for me in this game, and I still had an opportunity to win. If I had ever found a Night Stretcher, or let's say a Research over a couple of turns, or Super Rod, because I had Ultra Ball in hand originally, I would have just been able to instantly win the game with Mew. So quite a bit went wrong. I also had a slow start as well, and I'm still in a potentially winning situation here where I force a coin flip. So that's something to think about too. Things went wrong, and I'm still in an okay spot against a deck that is able to one-shot your, I would say, arguably main support, and also arguably attacker too nowadays, because you don't play Drifloon Bravery Charm in the Gardevoir. So yeah, a lot happened this game, but still in a potential spot where I can win, and it comes down to a coin flip, because if they flip tails, they go up to 80 and I just retreat into Gardevoir and I KO. Here's the coin flip, and it ends up being a heads. So Devin able to take that first game. As I said, quite a bit went wrong, but was still able to stay in it. So heading into here, the second game, there's Mahone and Jesse Parker. Shout out to them for casting the tournament. And all right, hopping here into the second game, Devin is going first. I do opt to go second. Important to go second so you can get that turn 1 evolution. And Devin's got a fantastic start here. We see the Pidgey, also the Charmander as well. Buddy Puffin turn 1 without access to Arven is very, very powerful. So there's the energy attachment as well, and just a pass. My hand is looking not amazing. Let's take a look here. There's a Bravery Charm. Actually, wait, no, there's a research. It's okay. Yeah, it's fine. All right. So we get ourselves another Ralts down. At this point, this game took basically 30 minutes. So I need to play pretty quickly, because we do not want to tie. Because if either of us tie, neither of us can make top cuts. So it is essential that we finish this game. So I attach Bravery Charm here onto the Ralts. I don't attach it to active because it's going to get knocked out by a Charizard anyways. And we draw a fresh hand of 7. Now, I drew TM Evo, which is great. There's a TM Evolution. I drew into Kirlia here, which means I don't have to get down to third Ralts because I can't evolve into double Kirlia regardless. So I don't actually need another Ralts here. I do decide to get Munkidori, drop that on the board. I could also just get another Ralts here, I guess, if they KO the active. That's like also something I could do in this spot. I'm thinking about it, I think. What do I end up taking? Do I end up taking Monkey? Yeah, okay, I just end up taking Monkey here and evolving into the Kirlia. So not a bad start for me getting the Kirlia up turn 2. The Bravery Charm doesn't matter now, but yeah, Devin's hand is a little bit icky here. One thing about Charizard Pidgeot is it doesn't have the Luminion or things like Rotom anymore, so it's a little bit more bricky than it used to be. And yeah, the situation, Devin had a great turn 1, but this turn 2 isn't necessarily that good. Just going into Cleffa gives me a lot of time. It basically allows me to take 2 prizes next turn. Next turn, I can go Munkidori, KO the Cleffa, and also Screamtail, take a 1 prizer and go down to 4. And that means I can reasonably prize race, even though they're able to one-shot me. So let's see here. Devin consulting his options. Got a few different cards. Looks like they end up discarding the Chi-Yu in this spot. Looks like they don't want that. Just trying to thin cards out of the deck here. There's Buddy Puffin as well. Probably going to get themselves another Pidgey. Smart they're getting Pidgey just because I will likely target that Pidgeotto in the spot if I do have the ability to Screamtail. So yep, my hand's looking pretty good too. I got Earthen Vessel, got Ultra Ball. That's kind of the nuts there. Got pretty good stuff. And yeah, there is the Cleffa drawing up to 7 here, getting some stuff. Looks like they got the Pidgeot. And yeah, I'm off to the races here. No, there's not a whole lot of time. So trying to get through this game as quickly as I can. There's the Ultra Ball, getting rid of the Iono here. At this point, I'm just prize racing. I have an evolution into Kirlia too. Getting that Screamtail out also is good. So yeah, in this spot, we're taking 2 prize cards. We're going to be knocking out 2 1-prizers. Absolutely critical. Retreat, go into the Screamtail, evolve into Kirlia, attach the Dark Energy and Iono there. Looks like I had another one in hand. Wasn't sure if that was an Iono or research, but anyways, there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. A beautiful hand here, getting tons of energies into the discard, which is great. I just take the Dark Energy here, shuffle up. Do I end up going back in? I do not. Yeah. All right, here we go. 1, 2. That's going to be enough to KO anything I want on the bench. I also got some more energies I want to put onto the Gardevoir, because if they counter catch or KO Gardevoir, those energies go back into the discard pile. So I put them on the Pokemon that I know they want to chase, and it puts them in a little bit of an awkward situation. Now, I bench the other Munkidori here. Getting down a second one is always good, and I can just Screamtail and knock out the Pidgeotto. Things are looking good now. However, this is a crazy turn from Devin here. I was looking to just kind of slam dunk win this game. I was feeling like I was just going to easily win at this point, because I'm getting Pidgeot, I'm getting Charizard, and also KOing a 2-prizer, in my opinion, is very unlikely. However, we're about to see one of the better draws that I've seen in quite some time here, off these few things that Devin is about to do. So Devin flips the script into nothing. This hand is terrible. They bench the Charmander down. We see an attachment of energy as well. There's the Artazon. Just checking the deck, see what they got. They got Munkidori. All right. There's the TM. And there's the Iono. Is this the spot where he hits the nuts? Let's see. Yes, Rare Candy Charizard into Counter Catcher KO. Yes. Rare Candy Charizard, Counter Catcher Pidgeotto. So this turn was insane. They hit all of this here in this situation, which made it a lot scarier in this game. I was looking to run away with it. However, that made it a lot closer. And now I'm in a scarier situation. However, not necessarily a terrible situation because there's a Fezandipiti on the board and I can deal with Charizard and Fezandipiti over a couple of turns, I think, pretty easily. So, we'll see what I'm able to do here, how I'm able to respond. So there is the Screamtail going into the active spot. We see the Artazon being used, getting a Munkidori onto the board here. All right, let's see what they end up, or what I actually end up doing. Yep, probably gonna go Arven. Yeah, so no hand disruption here. But that's also fine because I knew they kind of had to exhaust all of their resources in their hand to pull off that play. So I know they don't have a whole lot here. So I'm just Arvening. I'm figuring out actually what I want. Trying to decide if I want to take the Secret Box. Yeah, I take the Secret Box. Secret Box away, Blindside, TM Evo. Not Blindside. The other TM. The TM Energize. There's so many TMs now that are being talked about. I know some people are talking about the Hydreigon TM, I think, Blindside deck. So people are talking about TMs, getting them mixed up. But anyways, here is the Secret Box here, getting a few cards. I think I'm gonna need the Iono at some point. Nest Ball here as well. Nest Ball for Fezandipiti. I'm kind of in a shaky spot here. If I don't get another Gardevoir on the board, or I don't get another Ralts, that's like the main thing I need, because they could just go Pidgeot Boss's orders. So it's like a very, very sketchy situation to be in if they draw anything. So, all right, we'll flip the script. Draw 3, 1, 2, 3. See what I get here. There is a Dark Energy, and I do have Rescue or Night Stretcher. There was an old stretcher called Rescue Stretcher. There are two different stretchers, actually, for anyone who's newer to playing. There's an old one called Rescue Stretcher, but Night Stretcher is the newer one. So yeah, Night Stretcher here. I'm thinking about it. What do I want here? I think I can take Gardevoir. That's like fine. I could have also in the spot taken the Ralts, but yeah, in this spot it's just gonna be mind bending one. Where do I want to put this damage? I just put it onto the active. I think I just choose to put it on the active just because they can monkey anyways, probably. So I think I just put it on the active. I could have also put it on the Charmander. It might have been better in this spot just to put it on Charmander, but this does set up an easy KO on the next turn, thankfully. So, and I also confused them and they don't have Pidgeot, so that's a big thing. All right, I think they have Boss's orders. They could Boss and YOLO coin flip, but Arvening is definitely better here in this situation, I think. But you could have also gone for the YOLO coin flip. Like, you're up 1-0 and you have a chance to kind of seal the game here. So that's kind of a mentality standpoint as well, is that if I'm down 0-1, it's harder to justify taking that risky play if you think you're in a good spot. But in this spot, there was kind of an argument just to go for it, because if you hit it, you kind of just win. And if you like lose because of it, you have a game 3. And if you think the matchup is already favored, then you're okay going to game 3. But just kind of something interesting to think about. That's like kind of a cool thing that popped up. But anyways, chose the Arven here. Just getting himself another Charizard. Going to be able to Charizard, get multiple energies onto the board. 1 and 2. All right. There's a Luminous attach. And we'll see the KO. So, all right. They go down to 3 prize cards, but that still means I'm actually on pace to win this game. Now I can actually checkmate this turn. And in this situation, I am able to checkmate here. And it involves Mew EX. So, last game we lost because we didn't get Mew EX. This game we're going to win because we have access to Mew EX. So, all right, here we go. Promote the Screamtail. I recognize the line, I think, kind of around now, I'm like, okay, I can just win here. Yep, and I check to see if the Mew EX is in the deck, and I shuffle up. Even Clefairy would KO, I think, here anyways, too. Either or is okay, but definitely way better to Mew EX. Actually, wait, yeah, it's always better to Mew EX. I guess if I Clefairy and they KO the Gardevoir, then I might not have enough to KO the Fezandipiti. So, yeah, this is way better. Okay. All right. I'm just going to counter catcher here, bring up the Charizard, and at absolute worst, actually, I would have to attack with Gardevoir and bench Ralts and then try and go Rare Candy Gardevoir, but at that point, that's probably not happening at this point. So it's pretty much Mew EX or bust here. So, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I counted my deck and I had like no cards left, so I realized it was practically guaranteed. I miss it here, but I have Ultra Ball. I also have Fez too, so I can just Fez and draw pretty much my whole deck, leaving one. They thankfully don't play Chi-Yu EX, so they're not able to mill my last card here. That was actually one thing I thought about. I remember they had Chi-Yu, but I was like, wait, that Chi-Yu is not the one that actually, mills. So, anyways, we're gonna see a couple energies go onto this Mew EX, and the reason why I want to attack with Mew EX here is because if they KO the Mew EX, then I just go into Gardevoir and I can KO the Fezandipiti potentially, or Screamtail for game. I think Screamtail would be the option here. I don't know if I had any counter catcher left. And if they KO the Gardevoir, the only way they KO Gardevoir is with Mew EX, or is with Charizard, and then I just use the Mew EX for game. So I have just like complete and utter checkmate. Yeah, there's a counter catcher there too. The only play they could ever make is like Iono KO the active, but I would draw into one, like I would draw into my top deck, and then I'd have access to Fez, and just so many cards would give me game at that point. It's like any type of supporter pretty much would give me almost for sure game. Like Research would give me game, which I had a couple. Like counter catcher would give me game. If I had an Arven left, would give me game as well. Like, yeah, there's a lot. So anyways, there's a KO going down to 2 prize cards here, and yeah, Devin cannot do anything in this situation. I think they just choose to KO the active. Yeah, there's nothing else they do. I'll just skip ahead here. Yep, and I just show that I have Arven. Arven plus Ultra Ball. Yep, Arven for Super Odd plus Nest Ball for the Mew EX for game. And we're heading into a game 3. So game 3, unfortunately, was very, I guess, anticlimactic. Devin completely dead draws here, and I'm able to donk them. So this game was a little bit disappointing, unfortunately, but as we can see here, I do use the Earthen Vessel, get a couple of energies here. I attach to Ralts, and then I simply just pass, and then Devin goes draw, attach, pass, and I have it here with the Arven for the Rare Candy and the Bravery Charm, and I can Ultra Ball. I can attach, Ultra Ball, and I actually didn't price check here, and I was like, there's definitely a Gardevoir in the deck. I was like, if there was no Gardevoir, that would have been really awkward. But anyways, was able to take that W there, was able to win, and yeah, that was the game against Charizard. Very, very close. Well played by Devin. Definitely played to his outs. And yeah, that's kind of how I would approach the matchup as Gardevoir. Hope you found that video informational. Just kind of my thought processes here, and what I was trying to do in these situations. And yeah, ended up getting top 4. Did lose to Golden Go, but overall pretty happy about it. So walked away with some cash and got some good testing in with Gardevoir, as we have the World Championships in a couple of months, and I guess in a little less than 2 months of the recording of this video. So trying to kind of get prepared for that, and Gardevoir has been a deck I've been playing quite a bit recently. Most recently got top 64 at the North American International Championships. Also got top 32 at Portland Regional. So it's been working out pretty well recently. Been pretty happy with it. And yeah, hope you found that video informational. Thanks for all the support as always. Expect more content over the summertime. I will have more time. And yeah, I'll speak with you guys all again soon. Peace out.